So thank you all for coming today to learn a little bit more about the exhibition proposal series at the NHAA. So this is for anyone who wants to have a solo exhibition or do an artist curated group exhibition, either at the Levy Gallery or at the Art Center in Dover. And so I thought if you're new to this process, I will share some resources with you and walk you through some of the documents that we've already shared. And it's a Q&A, so I'm here to answer any questions that anyone has. Um, so just a show of hands, when I say that you need to write a proposal or submit a proposal about your idea, is that something that you guys are familiar with, or are most of your questions around what is a proposal and what are we looking for?
Generally familiar, but not specifically.
Okay, great. So this is what we've been doing at the NHAA for the last few years. And it is important to note that this is a competitive opportunity. So there is the possibility that not everyone who applies would be accepted. So far, that hasn't happened. We've had enough opportunities available to meet the needs of all of our artist members, but it is something that you do want to put a lot of time and thought into, and it's not something that you want to wait to the last minute or say, this is good enough. You really do want to put your best effort into creating your materials. So I'm going to share my screen and start with what a sample proposal looks like. And remember, this is a Q&A, so I'm really hoping that you guys have some questions for me and that you've already reviewed some of these materials. So this is a sample proposal. Some of the key things that I like to point out are put your artist's name, put your name on it, come up with a title and put that as the heading. I know these things might seem super basic, but you'd be surprised how many submissions that I get that where the artist doesn't put their name on it. So make sure you do that. You're going to start just with like with most things, with an introduction. And this is where you're going to talk about the themes from your artist statement. An artist statement is a really important piece of describing who you are as an artist. And if you want to directly quote from that in this introduction, that would work well. Or you can kind of alter it and base it on the themes and the concepts and the ideas that you have in your artist statement. You can talk about your materials, your just any insight into what your work is about. Explain the project. What do you want to show? We want you to avoid generalities and be specific. Always focus on the what, why, and how of your work and the overall project that you're pitching. If you're collaborating with other artists, make sure that you talk about why your exhibition will be strengthened with the inclusion of this other artist. How does the work fit together? Why do you want to show together? That type of information you want to include. Um, your vision for the gallery. This is really focused on your um, exhibition design. How are you going to hang the work? Are you going to do salon style where you have a lot of work, sort of work double or triple hung? Or is your work large and you want to have it spaced out with with one work on each wall? Kind of just, what kind of descriptions are you going to put on the work? Are you going to have signage? What does that signage look like? If you're looking into having the East Gallery, it's very important to include how you want to use the window and what type of signage and artwork you're going to put in the window to draw visitors into the gallery. I also love to see an educational component. This is something that is really helpful if you're applying for an exhibition that's also outside of NHAA. It just strengthens your application. Maybe you want to do an artist talk, maybe you want to do a demo in the gallery. We're really open to whatever your ideas are. And whether it's at NHAA or at another gallery, this is something that will always strengthen your exhibition proposal. And I put this in here because Part of what our goal is at the New Hampshire Art Association is to provide opportunities that help you grow as an artist. So the process of writing your proposal, putting all of your ideas down in a professional way that you can present to a gallerist or a curator is a really great exercise to go through as an artist. And definitely don't keep this educational component in mind. Um, when I had an exhibition in Boston at the FPAC Gallery some time ago, and I think that the reason why my proposal was accepted was because of the educational component. Um, and then timeline. It's really important for us as the curatorial team to know, is your work ready to go? Maybe we can slot you in for exhibition in the beginning of the year. How much time do you need to create your work? Where are you in your timeline? And to help you figure out the timeline, I've also prepared this document for you all that's called Artist Curated Exhibit Timeline and Artist Expectations. So this is something that you can respond directly to in your proposal, but you have a better idea of what we will be looking for. So if you haven't read this already, you can see it's 6 pages. And is this a good size? Does anyone need me to zoom in? No? Okay. Um, so we talk about setting goals, how to prepare, how to handle your advertising and marketing, pricing and selling your artwork. We have some tips for that. We also have this recommended timeline. You'll notice that we also have in here things like um, post your progress on social media to help you really get the word out about your exhibition. And new this year, we have a mandatory 30-minute meeting with NHAA team to go over your exhibition. And this is a great opportunity for our artists to get a little bit more direct mentorship about how to have a successful show. And we schedule this usually 8 weeks prior, so that's also something that you should note here. And if necessary, we can do it over Zoom, but it's something that you would want to schedule between Tuesday and Friday. So it might be if you have another job, you might need to take a day off work or a lunch off work or something for that. Um, so if you haven't already looked at this, I really recommend that you take a deep dive because we really put a lot of effort into um, sort of demystifying the process and breaking it down into a really digestible way that will help you have a very successful show. We even put information in here about when you're going to have to upload your images to ArtCall, when you should be photographing your work, because that can be something that takes a long time. So we've really broken it down for you to hopefully make this process accessible if you've never done it before, and to make your exhibitions even stronger if you have. I also love providing artists with resources. So I put together this little section of helpful links. If when I was starting to talk about artist statements, you were like, oh my God, my artist statement needs so much work. I have two great articles here that will help you. I also have a really great article about pricing your work. Um, these are really interesting about, talking about your work, especially with patrons in the gallery. And also these things will help you with explaining yourself in your proposal. This is a presentation about exhibition design, which is really great if you are unsure about how you want to display your work. You can find some great inspiration there. And if you are not a photographer and you struggle with photographing your work, this is an article that will help you because when you upload your images into ArtCall, they serve as they're part of our online gallery, which is a great sales tool for you. And we do require you to submit images as part of your proposal. So we want to make sure that those are the best images that are representing your work. And if you go to our application for the exhibition proposal series, the artist curated exhibitions, this is what this looks like. You can find this on our member portal. And you can see the deadline is December 31st. So you still have plenty of time to work on this. Um, We ask you some basic questions. Is this a solo show? If not, who else do you want to participate? You can check off here. Is it a full gallery, one wall, um, the NHAA wall at the Art Center, or maybe you're flexible. Maybe you just want to have a show and you don't care where it is. We also have some other unique spaces like the WC Gallery. We had an artist who recently rented the glass cabinet, which was a new thing this year. Or if you have an idea that requires multiple galleries, you can also check that. Um, and then I showed you the sample proposal. So this is where you'll upload your file here. 3 to 10 sample images of work that may be included in the exhibition. It's 3 to 10 because if you're working with a lot of other artists, then we want each artist to submit at least two so we can get an overall feel for the work for the exhibition. But if you are having a solo show, then you can just have three. Also, if you're planning on creating new work, that's totally okay. We just want sketches, mock-ups, sample images that are different, but might be related, or you can explain how they are different. Um, and you can also include images of your presentation if you have your work framed or you want them to be framed uniformly, or if you're going to have them be in different types of framing, you can include that. And this might be confusing. We want it as a single PDF document. So think Google Slides or PowerPoint. It's kind of like you're making a PowerPoint of your sample images labeled with your descriptions, especially if you have sketches or things that are not the finished work. And then you're going to download that as PDF. So when it says PDF image slide deck, that's what we're looking for. Some type of like, even if you used a word processing program, that would be fine. But you're just going to insert your images so that they pretty much fill up the whole page of whatever your PDF program is, and then you'll download it and upload it as just one single file. And then here we have some gallery floor plans, and I will show you how to find more in-depth gallery floor plans on our website. And we have one for the Art Center. We're still negotiating our 2024 contract with the Art Center. So in the past, we used this front wall. So when you walked into the Art Center, it was the first thing that you saw. I think this year that Rebecca Proctor, who is the owner of the Art Center, is going to use her discretion to either have it on this wall or potentially give the artist more space and have movable walls on this side, which is called the Jim Reagan Gallery. But once we finalize our contract, I'll update the information here. We have our gallery price chart. New this year, we've over the past couple of years, we've had very low interest in the H wall. So we've been combining it with G and I so that when you walk into Fraser, the two artists who, if you're doing a body of work, will share that back wall. You can see that the H wall is this one right here. So when you're walking to the through the gallery, it's kind of the first thing that you see in the Fraser Gallery. So we split it down the middle. The G artist gets the side closest to G. The I artist gets the side closest to I. And can be a really great way to draw viewers into the Fraser Gallery. And you'll see that we tried to keep the prices as close to stable as we could. Um, and the East Gallery price has not increased at all. We're trying to keep these opportunities as accessible as we can. We've been able to do that through generous fundraising. So, in speaking of keeping our opportunities accessible, we have again this year the D. Pratt Framer Artist Opportunity Grant, and they will be paying the fees for 5 to 6 artists. It's only applicable at the Levy Gallery in Portsmouth. And if you want to apply for this, definitely let me know on the application so I can follow up with you and make sure that you submit the letter. But it's email a letter about how this opportunity would impact your art career to me. And it's a review process that includes myself as well as the owners of D. Pratt Framer. They are part of the decision making. Um, and then the final question is, have you reviewed the artist curated exhibit timeline and artist expectations document? And do you agree to follow the exhibition timeline? So even more important for you all to review that because it's required. Um, a few other things that I wanted to share is this is on our member portal. And I've clicked on all of these so you can see the different wall dimensions of each gallery. This is important to help you determine um, the different spaces that are available to you. So this is the East Gallery and it includes the window. And you will notice back on the application, it says, proposals for the East Gallery must include a plan for the window. That's a really big piece of it. And you are representing NHAA and helping to draw in our foot traffic. So we want to highlight that. This is the South Gallery. And then we have the Fraser Gallery. And this will help you to figure out how many pieces of art you can fit on each wall and in each gallery as part of your exhibition design. And I think that about covers it. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm sure that you all have questions since it is a Q&A. So please jump in. There's so few of us that there's time for everyone to ask a question.
I'll go first.
Okay.
When I assume that the sample proposal that you showed, is that on the website?
We will put it on the member portal. I also have emailed it out in the past, but
Okay.
yeah, we'll
Yeah,
put it
the
up on the member
email
portal.
had the timeline and expectations, but I don't recall the sample proposal.
I can also see if I can upload it to the chat now, so you might be able to, I don't know, can I attach something? Yes. Yes, I'll get it in there, but are there, in the meantime, are there any other questions?
I was waiting for some. The other question I have is just to validate an assumption,
Okay.
which is if it's not a solo show and it's going to be a show artist curated with other artists, my assumption is that the other artists have to be members of the New Hampshire Art Association. Is that a
There,
correct assumption?
it is a correct assumption. I will say that there are occasionally exceptions made, but those exceptions need to be brought to the board for approval. And we usually we prefer there to be a majority of the proposals of the artists involved to be NHAA members. Like for example, right now we have our plein air painting group exhibition up in the East Gallery. And 90% of the artists are NHAA members, but there are, I think, one or two that are prospective members who have been participating in the plein air group for the full season from August to October. And that would be an exception that we would be open to making because they're already involved in our programming and they're looking to continue to be more involved in our organization. Um, so it's not a definitive rule, but you kind of have to be able to back it up. All right. Well, I guess I did such a good job explaining everything that no one has any questions. Um, it can be a stupid question. It could be about, what I'm looking for, really anything that you guys want to know. You have me for another, half hour. So please take advantage of this time.
I actually have a question. This is Renee. Are there any particular themes next year or events happening that you would like things to tie to? Or is it, like this year, for example, we had the Portsmouth 400, but is there
Mhm.
anything or any theme or motivation next year that the NHAA is working on?
Yes, we have a lot of new and exciting themes that we're working on for next year, but um, there's no restriction on this. That's really what the exciting part about having this be an artist curated opportunity is that if you feel like maybe some of the calls that NHAA has had in the past don't quite vibe with what you're working on, this is your way of making sure that you get to explore the concepts and ideas that you're really excited about. Um, we are still, part of what we do in January while the gallery is closed is we curate not only the artist curated proposals and exhibitions, but also all of the themes for 2024. Um, and I would suggest to artists that to think about how your work is positioned within the greater canon of artwork being made now. And if your work is about a timely issue, something that is maybe inspired by current events or this world that we're living in, that would be something that you'd really want to put into your proposal about why you're ready to have your exhibition now.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Yeah, this is David Olkin. I had a question about selection of dates. How does that work? Is there flexibility, or are you assigned a specific time and window?
Yes, so this is the most complicated part of the process. And I'll go back to sharing my screen and I'm going to take you to back to the application. So on question number 8 here, we have what months are you unavailable to exhibit your work? And we decided to do unavailable as opposed to your preference because we will receive about 30 applications is our guess. And in order to coordinate with everyone, we found that it's a lot easier to be able to see the months that there is no flexibility that people cannot exhibit. Um, and um, if you have a month or a particular gallery that you're most excited about, that's something that you write about in your proposal. So we have project timeline, if that's a really big piece. So if your work is ready and you're like, hey, March is great for me, then definitely let us know if you have a preference like that. But in order to accommodate as many artists as possible, we do ask for your flexibility. And we will contact you in January and give you like, the first round of, hey, we have this available. Are you interested? And you can say yes or no. And if you say no, we will try to move things around and see if we can accommodate you at a different time slot. So that's why filling out that question 8 when you're unavailable is so important because, and I know that plans change and things change, but that way we can try to make it work for all of the artists.
Thank you.
Mhm. Anyone else? Okay, well, if no one else has any questions, I think then we can probably wrap up early. Um, I'll do a last call for questions and then we can all sign off. All right, great. Well, thank you all for coming. I'm really looking forward to seeing your proposals. And if you do have questions that come up through the process, you can reach out to me, Carol, and Mandela. The three of us really work very closely as a team on this. So sometimes I can be a little bit hard to get in touch with because my calendar is so packed. So I recommend reaching out to Carol and Mandela first, just because they have a little bit more time available. All right. Well, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Thank you.
Bye.